What's going on, guys? Today's a little bit different. I've decided to kind of reflect on my journey on YouTube and share that instead of going into the niche topic of any kind of Pokemon topic I could basically come up with. We're just going to go over kind of how all of this came to be. And I've probably talked about this on this channel, but it's always nice to do kind of a recap and go over my journey, where it all started, where it all began. So here's the thing. Throughout my entire life, I've always had some kind of affinity for YouTube. I've always thought it was interesting. I started one a very long time ago and deleted it out of embarrassment, out of shame. And, you know, here we are today. I ended up doing a YouTube channel anyways, regardless, despite that. And I constantly think about what it would have been like if I would have just continued with it. And, you know, that can be, you know, there are pros to cons, and we're going to talk about those, but the harsh reality is that it can be extremely draining to run a YouTube channel. I shouldn't say run, but to participate in the community, make videos, make content. There is this constant clashing of creativity and search engine optimization and, you know, keyword phrases and search terms and trying to compete with other content creators. And you are constantly duking it out with yourself as well, you know, competing with your last videos. Oh, that video, the views are down. Oh God, now I'm doing horribly. My views are down. My channel's not as popular. I'm not as relevant. You are constantly trying to maintain, you know, being relevant, you know, being helpful, providing some kind of service, entertainment. You are constantly trying to get people to consume your content and watch your stuff. And one thing that happens is along the way, you lose yourself a little bit along the way. And, you know, that's very easy to do with niches in general. You know, mine being kind of the foundation of this channel is kind of Pokemon. And, you know, I'm kind of proud of that in a lot of ways because it goes back to the roots of who I was as a kid. And then I liked TCGs as a kid, and I still like them as an adult. You know, it really has become somewhat of a lifestyle, but in some ways, you know, you do wonder as a content creator, you know, are people interested in me? Are they interested in the content only? Are they just going to come and go after they've received some kind of advice or information or some guidance? Or are they going to come back? Is this, you know, am I being my most genuine self, or am I, you know, supporting another narrative, other ideas from other creators? You know, there's constantly struggles that you have. But if we go all the way back to where this started, I was always on social media. When Facebook, you know, became a thing, I was on Facebook way too much. I was constantly chatting people. If you know, you know, growing up in the Facebook era where everyone's on chat, talking to each other constantly, you know, being in high school, talking to other high schoolers, it was a great time to be on social media, but it wasn't doing anything for me. Really, it was just sucking all of my time away and keeping me from studies and school. So then came Instagram, and Instagram was cool because, I don't know, it felt more hip. And now kind of Instagram, in my opinion, has kind of fallen off a little bit. They're kind of copying what TikTok is doing. We've got stories now. You know, YouTube has learned from that as well. And now YouTube has shorts, which, you know, is not something that I do great at. A lot of my shorts came from TikTok, and they're just not that great. And it's something that I've considered, like, should I just delete everything and start over again? Should I? And not necessarily with the whole channel. I just mean like my oldest content and my shorts that I don't like and stuff that I feel like doesn't necessarily represent me the same, right? Because as you get older, your content is evolving with you as a person. And anyways, before I, you know, dive into that rabbit hole, I just want to say kind of where it all started. So I was on Instagram. I kind of enjoyed that. But again, I was looking at other people's lives constantly, you know, wanting, you know, following people that are very classy and wealthy and entrepreneurial and ambitious and wanting what they have, you know, the big house, the private jet, all this extravagant stuff that you might say, Orion, come on, that's not realistic. But my entire life I've refused to think realistically. I've always felt like I was special. Joke about that as much as you will, but you know, and when I started YouTube, I finally felt like I had a place where I got to express myself and felt special and felt like I was really being rewarded by that. One, with, you know, the engagements in the community and friendships, but two, when the monetization came. And I'm going to come back to that. But so I look back to my oldest videos and kind of when I built up the game room, and I pretty much started collecting and coming together with the game room and what I wanted roughly 3 years ago. But I didn't make my first videos until roughly 2 years ago, maybe 2 years and some change. My dad is calling me right now. I'm just going to ignore that because your son is making YouTube videos and can't pick up the call. Hopefully that's not an emergency. And again, that's not going to get cut from these videos because my whole thing on YouTube, which I think is beginning to be more of a fad right now, it's beginning to be a little bit more of a trend right now, is that people are unedited, raw, unfiltered. For the longest time, people thought you needed incredible editing skills. You needed all the editing possible. People are growing tired of that. They're getting sick of it. It doesn't feel as authentic. And for me, it was more so that I didn't have the time to do that. I run a full-time business. I have a family. I'm doing other things with my time. I really just wanted to make videos just to put my thoughts out into the world. And it wasn't necessarily always going to be Pokemon, but so there was this girl. My friend was dating this girl who in Charlotte, you know, has a salon and is a hairstylist, and you know, she was doing YouTube, and you know, I looked at the channel and, you know, have tried to learn from it over time, but it was really niche. It was really just about hair and being, you know, a hairstylist. And, you know, I thought, you know, how far, you know, could that go? But what I've learned, you know, also through my own channel and hers is that you can be in a niche. Don't ever necessarily let someone tell you that you can't be in a niche. Now, technically, I would like to make other content. I would like to make vlog style content, lifestyle content, just other content, you know, even at the risk of losing subscribers or people not necessarily liking the content as much or not finding it as useful. At the end of the day, for me, it's not just about churning out content and making ad revenue. I really want to be accepted for who I am. And I think this is a creative issue that a lot of people, and an identity crisis almost, that a lot of people are going to have on YouTube that they're going to struggle with. Anyways, so, you know, I wondered how well could this do. You know, I watched, you know, her channel when I was in high school, maybe had, you know, 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. And she was always posting stuff about her YouTube uploads. And I was like, okay. You know, I could see this. But then, you know, before I know it, they had moved in, you know, they had got married, they moved into this massive house, and I was putting two and two together. You know, he had mentioned that he was doing very well, but he had mentioned that she was doing extremely well. And a lot of that was, you know, she'd already had a business, she was a hard worker, you know, she was doing the things that you do, saving money, putting money away, kind of traditional investments, but it wasn't quite panning out the way that she had hoped. But one major contributing factor was that she was making content. She was making something for other people to consume and be entertained by and maybe even learn from, and putting her salon skills, her hairstylist skills out there into the world. And what I found was by the time they moved into that house and I put two and two together, I looked back on her channel and saw that her channel had grown from being a couple thousand subscribers to being, you know, I think 50 or 60,000 subscribers. And I don't even think, you know, by today's standards that that's crazy. I think right now it's more like 100,000 subscribers for her. But at that time, a couple years ago, I was just like, wow, that's a lot of subscribers. And from what I understood, she was making a lot of ad revenue off of that channel. She was making more money off of her channel than she was running her traditional business. A lot of people don't want to hear this. I feel like a lot of people And you don't necessarily want to welcome a bunch of competition, but here's the thing. Everybody has something different to offer. There really isn't true competition. That really doesn't exist because every single person is different and unique in their own way. They bring something else to the table on YouTube. So you really don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is really be genuine, be yourself, and people will eventually come around to who you are as a person. But you have to accept that you are fighting a losing fight by trying to compete and feel like you're never good enough and you always got to stay on top. I can't believe the kind of thoughts that I'm having now as a creator and how hard I am on myself, how hard we all are on, each other and on each other's content. I'm blessed with a lot of people that support me and very little criticism, honestly, very little criticism on my channel. That's a blessing because I'm online. I know I'm going to get bashed and trolled and criticism, but it rarely ever happens. And I'm very, very lucky for that. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the good energy and good vibes. And I think it's time for me to push a little bit of more of that lifestyle and, things that I think about. One thing on a daily, things that I think about that cross my mind on a daily basis that might have nothing to do with Pokemon. I probably shouldn't have even used this background, but I figure most of the people that are watching my channel, it's not that that's all they care about. It's that that's what they're familiar with. When they see the background, when they see, the game room, that's me. They know that that's me. That's been, it's kind of my trademark. So it's what makes the channel unique, right? And I've realized that, I'm boxing myself in by doing that constantly. So I definitely eventually have to branch out, as scary as that is at some point. There are other things that I want to talk about, even at the expense of losing part of a following. I say always talk about things that you're passionate about, because at the end of the day, you're going to look back and you're leaving some kind of legacy with YouTube, right? I really believe that. I think it should be taken seriously. It can be a joke. You can be a streamer. It really depends what you're going after in life. It really depends. And you don't have to make quality content to go viral. You don't have to make quality content to have hundreds of thousands of people love listening in. Some people are just themselves and they just talk about, stream about whatever they want all day. I mean, you guys probably have seen the Aiden Ross Playboy Cardi debacle, with I think the 2 million that he just kind of got scammed out of, if that's even real. But it's a really silly, ridiculous clip, and it's getting an incredible amount of views. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, you can do anything you want. It doesn't have to be so boxed in, but there's nothing wrong with doing your niche, right? A lot of people believe that you do your niche long enough, then you can jump into the next thing. My approach is probably going to be doing a little bit of different stuff here and there. Just a little bit, once a week, once a month, slowly working that in. I used to think that I'm going to do a workout video one day. If you go way back into my videos, back into, the early days, you've got, I've got some workout videos. There's some car videos. I might go for a walk in the park and talk about, my life. I did that, and I really was trying to do something different. They didn't get any views, so I knew that it was a shock to my subscriber base and my viewership, but I'm coming right back around to that. It's inevitable that you have to try and be more authentic, more yourself, especially if you want that for your channel. Now, again, going back, I saw a girl who became extremely successful off of YouTube. Now is investing in multiple properties, multiple salons. I'm not going to say names because I just don't know if she would want that. But I do want to say that I learned a lot from this girl. And, watching, not necessarily watching from a distance, that sounds weird, but every now and again checking in on the channel and seeing how it was doing. And it is constantly done very, very well. What you'll notice about YouTube is that if you're willing to put in the time and you're disciplined and you actually really enjoy it, you enjoy making videos, it really is, it's the term anti-fragile. It's even when things get hard, even when you get bad press, even when you get trolled, even anything that comes through your channel, it can help the algorithm, just helps your channel. It's very hard to do poorly with YouTube. The difficult part, the part that gets hard, is wanting it to grow at the pace that you want. a lot of people right now, I'm seeing a lot of thumbnails, a lot of videos, a lot of content creators that are in the vlog, tutorial YouTube how-to. I'm seeing a lot of them talk about why am I not getting enough views? Why am I not getting enough growth? I'm trying something. I'm going to try something different here. And, there was even something I saw posted about January or January and February are bad times to be posting. It's better to just take a break from YouTube. I've noticed that my ad revenue has dipped a good bit, and I wonder why that is. The views aren't changing. I'm not getting less views than I've ever gotten before. I'm getting more views than I've ever gotten before. I'm getting more subscribers than I've ever had before, and that ad revenue is still dipping. And I can see how this would frustrate people because they get roped into it, and then it's that dopamine rush. When you see, oh, my monthly payout, that's what I'm going to make for the month's worth of content. Well, that's pretty good. Then the next month you get half of that, and you're like, well, wait a minute. Why did I get half that? I'm putting in the same amount of work. Well, this doesn't really incentivize me to do more. So it's very interesting. But my story of getting into YouTube. 2 years ago, my daughter is 2 years old now. So 2 years ago, I had a decision to make. We were opening the bar, Starlight on 22nd here in Charlotte, which I'm going to bring you guys into the bar. And I'm going to show you guys kind of what the bar is like soon. That's going to be a part of this new journey of kind of taking you guys into my actual life and showing you, what I do, what I go into work with every day. It's nothing flashy. I run a pretty decent bar. It's pretty cool. It's pretty eclectic and artsy. And we have really awesome events that I'm very proud of. If you ever follow me on Instagram, you can see that I'm constantly trying to push my business. I'm trying to, constantly market these events. I'm always posting stuff that's getting reposted by our marketing, which is my fiance, Diana. And she does a fantastic job of that. We don't tell her that enough, but we need to. I'm gonna start to take you guys on that journey, and I'm scared to do it. I'm like, is this something that I need? My channel has something good going for it, but this room is always gonna be there. Maybe not always. We might move around stuff, move into another house at some point, but I will always have this part of the channel, right? But it doesn't necessarily define me as a whole, as a person. There are things that are very interesting to me. Philosophy. I've talked about this. There's so much in life. There's so much more to life. And I love Pokemon. It's not like I'm stopping doing Pokemon content. That's not what this is. This is just realistic me saying that I love, fitness. I love, mental well-being. I love, lifestyle stuff. I love the vlog stuff. If I'm watching this stuff, if I'm seeing this stuff on my home channel more than I'm seeing Pokemon stuff, it says a lot about me. These algorithms, the system, YouTube, it is freaky. It knows what you want. It knows what your desires are. It knows what you want to see, what you're entertained by, what's relaxing. And I love listening to other people. That's something that I really, really love doing. And I think it could be one of those things where it's like, I'll always be known for Pokemon, but I'll also be known for talking about current events, stuff that happens, news, funny stories, things that happen in my day-to-day life, experiences that I have. It could become a good place to vent and be therapeutic. And I usually sprinkle a little bit of my personal life into the videos occasionally. But I don't know. It takes a huge weight off of me to explain my YouTube journey and where I think the future of it is and what I want to do with it, where I want to go with it. But 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, we're starting the business. Aspen is on the cusp of being born, and I'm having to ask myself, what do you want to do with your life? Really, what do you want to do with your life? You went to college, you did the deal, you got a degree in business finance, I worked in real estate, I worked in a financial office. I worked with my dad renovating properties. Pretty much my whole life I've worked with my dad, renovating properties before I got those jobs out of college. But I've really done everything that I kind of set out to try and do. And I am tired of doing the same things, saving money, investing, doing the things that I know that you're supposed to do. And even preaching that feels wrong because, YouTube is the opposite of that. YouTube is exponential growth. YouTube is a chance to live a completely different life. And fellow creators out there that are doing very well, that are succeeding in this venture, they know that that is the truth. Now, there are a lot of people that aren't able to money manage. There are, myself included in some cases, there are a lot of people that, YouTube does not pay enough. But the thing is, like, I think it's a question of, like, at what point can I make this my life? At what point could I do this full time? And I don't know if I would even want to do it full time. I've talked about this before. It's so much pressure. People get burnt out on YouTube so easily, and I don't want that for myself. But when I was getting into this, I had the uncertainty of how my bar business was going to be, and I thought, well, if I have nothing to talk about at some point, or if Pokemon becomes a fad and dies out and I end up with a massive bag of Pokemon cards and nobody cares, then at least I'll have the bar. I've got my family. I've got, my investments in the stock market. There's other things that I can talk about and bring to the channel. And I really do want to hold to that. But, one thing I realized was that, this is becoming a new form of entertainment. There's Netflix and there's Hulu and Amazon Prime, and then there's YouTube. And YouTube is a very serious form of entertainment. More people than ever are doing YouTube and realizing that it's kind of one of those little cheat codes in life. Like, it's amazing if you put the time into this to watch it grow organically. And this is another thing I want to say, that I have never really asked or begged. Someone pointed this out in a video yesterday, that I've never been like, if you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I've literally never done that. I don't do that on this channel. I hope that people want to follow me organically. They want to listen to me and who I am as a person, and hopefully I provide some service, some, form of entertainment, some insight, some advice. And to that, I think YouTube was one of the best things that I ever did. It's been hard. I'm not gonna lie, I've got a quantity more than quality in videos. I've got 600 plus videos, and none of them are really viral. Most of them, some of the best ones maybe hit 10,000 views, but that's as good as it gets pretty much for me, or at least for what I know. I haven't even looked back at my videos because I'm constantly churning out content and making new stuff. But it would be amazing to look back and find a video that did 20 or 30,000 views, but I wouldn't even know at this point. But the only ones I know about are probably 10,000 views. And that video was when I was being very, very genuine in describing my problems, with, addictions and cautioning Pokemon and gambling, and it's come a long way from there. I've gotten much better with, managing this as, Pokemon as a hobby. But when it comes to YouTube, that's become a whole other thing that I've learned how to manage. I've had to learn how to manage time. I've had to learn how to manage my money. Is it worth opening product, doing this review, doing mail days? What's working? What is working? What do people want to watch and what do people not want to watch? And what I found is they want to listen to me talking about subjects and topics regarding this hobby. And I wonder, like, am I just somebody that should just be talking about things in general in life? Is that something that I can potentially bring to the table? I don't know. But, that's part of this whole video, is like my journey and trying to figure out like where I'm going from here necessarily. I'm an introvert. I'm not a natural at talking to a screen, to a camera. I'm not a natural at that. That has come from hundreds of videos. If you go back to my earliest videos, all YouTube content creators will relate with this. You go back to my earliest videos, they suck, they are terrible, they are god-awful cringe. But one thing that I have always done is continue to make videos despite what those videos did. Literally, I leave them there as to remind myself where I came from with this channel and how lost and forgotten those videos are. But I still go back and I still look at them to this day because they remind me, you, Orion, you are taking for granted the fact that overnight in 24 hours, you can get 1,000 views on a video. That is still something very fresh, very new to me that I have not had in the past. And it really is, I'm very grateful for it because, a lot of how we judge ourselves once we're on this platform and we're making content is like, how is our content doing? our content sometimes reflects how we're doing. Like, my content's doing really well, I'm feeling like I'm doing really well. But the problem is, there's always another video. And some people just will plug and play. It's like a job, it's 9 to 5 to them. There's no other option than to continue to make that content. But I wanna enjoy making the content. This is why I really wanna keep my work life and how I make income and how I make money separate from YouTube. How do I make videos that people really appreciate, that leave a legacy almost, that I can look back on and be like, that's possible. You know, people say you get boxed into a niche, you can't get out of it. I believe that for the most part, and that's not the worst thing in the world to be in a niche. If you love what you're talking about, you know, this part, again, part of the reason why I started this channel. I love talking about Pokemon cards. My family can't stand it at this point. Diana can't stand it at this point. So and like many other, you know, people out there that don't have a place to rant about or talk to or engage or make discussions, YouTube becomes the platform to bring that whole community together. And I've created my own little community out of, you know, doing these videos and doing content. And you guys make my day when you send messages that are like, you're my favorite, you're the best in the community. I'm just a normal guy, but I am trying to figure things out and trying to bring something really special to the table, and organic and natural. But there was so much uncertainty in my life when I started this channel. The stock market was headed down. My investments were headed south. That was really hard for me to handle because I tried to do everything right. And I can tell you firsthand that even when things seem like they are all on the up and up, you just don't know when things are gonna go south. And this isn't just specific stocks, this is index funds too. I saw my retirement start to tank and I took money out of it, and I'm glad I did because it continued to tank. My small cap IRA Roth tanked a lot, and I was lucky enough to pull out. I pulled out almost all of it and I let the rest ride to see what would happen, and it just tanked. The markets were just going south, and a lot of that money went into Pokemon cards, and I'm kind of glad it did, because my Pokemon stuff I was able to sell and make more money out of it, make content out of it, get something out of it that was tangible, that I knew, that I felt expert at. You know, doing YouTube was hand in hand with all of that stuff, but there was again, back on topic, there was a lot of uncertainty in my life. The market, I was gonna have a kid. I didn't know if, you know, the bar was gonna be enough to provide for my family, for raising, you know, a kid, you know, buying all these things. Everything is so expensive, from, you know, buying groceries, buying lots of fresh, organic produce and food, buying all of the baby stuff. I can't even tell you how much baby stuff that I have bought. It is a ridiculous amount of baby items. I can't even begin to list them. Diapers is the one that comes to mind. With anybody that has a family, has kids, you know that diapers are like public enemy number one. That you go through them really fast. Sometimes you go through 3, 4, 5 a day. They cost like $50 for a small box of them that you go through in like 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, it's insane. And you know, on top of that, you know, we didn't have to use formula, but you know, Diana stressed to me that, you know, we would have spent even more money if we were on formula. So I can't imagine what people spend on formula, because that stuff is very expensive. There's just a lot of little things here and there, baby safe stuff, clothes, that's a big one because they grow so fast, they grow out of all that stuff. Anyways, I was stressed out about all this stuff and not sure really how I was gonna make it work. Now, I have busted my butt to make my bar successful. I have put in so much effort and so much time. I have really done the opposite of what a smart person does. I have worked way harder, not way smarter, and I have spent way too much time. I've given up my only day off to run a karaoke night, which last night was the first time in a while that I've seen it dead. And that broke me. That hurt my soul, right? So Pokemon not only is something that I collect and love and I'm passionate about, it takes me away from everything, but I could not do that. I could not do that at the level that I'm going to start doing it at, the level of collecting that I'm doing now. I would not do it or have the confidence to do it if I did not have a place to share it with. It is too lonely to have all this stuff and just have it to myself. That is one of the best things about YouTube, is I get to share with a community that supports me, that's excited about this stuff the way I'm excited about this stuff. And nobody else understands, right? Nobody else around me gets it. Nobody understands. And they support me. They blindly support me. Diana has from the jump supported me, although she is still very skeptical of YouTube and of Pokemon and of eBay. You know, I am constantly, month over month, showing more results, better results. I'm putting in the time. I'm trying to show that this stuff makes sense, babe. I know it's just a hobby that you think that I have, maybe something that you think I'm gonna fall out of, but I think a lot of people experience this with YouTube in general, not just like my niche of Pokemon, but YouTube in general, doing what you love, following a passion, making content, making videos. It's something that a lot of people don't understand. I think there's way less content creators, you know, on a global, you know, if you look globally and you look at the masses of populations, a lot of people cannot be in front of a camera. This is something that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And this is why people cherish content creators. And I hope you guys cherish my content as well and appreciate me. I'm not going anywhere by any means, but it's just like, it's not very often people come and go. People make content and all of a sudden you don't see any content from them anymore. They're making a lot of money doing their real world jobs, or they started businesses. And that's another thing, is like YouTube goes hand in hand with starting a business, affiliations, sponsorships. Now, I don't do any of that. I don't ask you guys to subscribe or like my videos. I literally don't ask for anything, and I don't do giveaways. And some people would say, you know, maybe that's a shortfall of mine, is that I should do giveaways more. People have mentioned that giveaways would be fun, but I care less about just getting these numbers pumped up, and I care more about if I'm just myself and I put out my opinions, even if they're wrong. If I put out my opinions, myself, my advice, my guidance, my form of entertainment for people to consume, if I'm just me, what will I see with the channel? Will the channel grow with just me being genuinely, unapologetically myself? That's what I want. I want to feel the freedom and the empowerment to just be myself. That's very important to me. You know, I don't talk about this stuff on the channel because we're always talking about Pokemon, and we will probably always continue to talk about Pokemon. It's probably always going to be a part of my life. To that point, if you guys were watching yesterday's video, I was having a conversation with Diana, and it totally slipped by me to take part in those auctions. The gold stars all got auctioned off at prices lower than last solds, from what I can see. So from what I can see right now, the vintage market, just from that little bit, at least for the gold stars, the vintage Pokemon market is, you know, trending down, in my opinion. But I just wanted to throw that in there because it was something that I noticed, and I really wanted to make a video on that. But I decided I would make this video and not put it off, because I've been wanting to talk about my goals with YouTube, how I came into it. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I think for the whole first year of doing YouTube, I just felt like I was a loser. I was wasting my time. I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't reaching an audience. Nobody really cared. I was asking people in the bar that would come in that if we were talking about anything relatively like content or YouTube or Pokemon, if any of those things, trading cards, if any of those things came up at all, I begged people, practically begged people, got on my knees and was like, please follow my YouTube channel. I am trying to start a new life for myself. I'm trying to do something different, and I really want this to work out. And my gosh, I got lucky enough that my channel was basically able to kickstart with 100 subscribers, basically, because of people I met at the bar, people that I told, you know, my story about how, you know, I don't know how the bar was going to do. I have a family that I was about to have to raise up and provide for as the sole income provider in this household. It's a lot of pressure. If you are a sole provider in your household, you know that it is a crippling amount of pressure, and that I didn't want to just do I'm going to budget on everything and cut back on everything. And no, I knew that I wanted to go hard on YouTube. I knew that I wanted to, buy awesome Pokemon cards. I wanted to do big openings. I wanted to do big streams. I wanted to go big or go home. That's something that I still believe in today, and it's something that I struggle with because the amount of money I have spent on this channel, opening product, buying product, doing mail days, buying stuff for a collection to reveal to you guys, I have so far overspent anything that I've made on YouTube. I made $4,000, which is still a lot of money. I made $4,000 the first year that I was monetized on YouTube, but it really felt like the first year I got nowhere. It felt like the first year, like I maxed out at like 500 subscribers after a year. And I was making a lot of videos. I think like 300 videos I made in the first year. Has been paying off a lot more this year. I've stayed really consistent with it, but the first year, nothing. The second year on YouTube is when I started making money, and it was very small. It was like $1, $2, $5, $7, $10, $20, and then it started growing exponentially. Guys! So, as you guys know, anybody who's followed the channel knows that there's dogs in the background, our toddlers running around, crying, screaming, yelling, playing, having fun, all these kind of things. So it's great because people know that about this channel at this point, and it doesn't even faze me at this point. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I feel like a lot of people relate with me that have families and know that, like, how does Orion even put out content? A lot of people that put out content, especially in the Pokemon world, a couple of the big guys, I have so much respect for them because I don't know how they do it with kids and a family, because I don't even know how I've done it. I have struggled to consistently build on this channel and make content with everything going on in the household and my life and business. I've pretty much spent the day with my family, and now I did a 30-40 minute video, and then I will go into work till 10, 11 at night. I mean, it is burnout. It is a burnout concoction. It is a recipe for a burnout. That's what YouTube and family and being a business owner, an entrepreneur, being hyper ambitious. And I do believe that I'm hyper ambitious. I would not judge myself based on my YouTube and just Pokemon cards. I am hyper ambitious. I am constantly doing stuff outside of YouTube to supplement me doing YouTube, because really YouTube is not an income provider. YouTube is a luxury and something fun that I do on the side that gives my life a little bit of meaning, because you can be anything with YouTube, right? You can do anything, be anybody you want to be, and even better, you can be yourself and people can accept you and love you for being you. And that's the main reason that I'm still here, is I feel accepted, loved, and appreciated by my community. But I want to branch that out to an even larger sphere, and just talk about vlog stuff, lifestyle. Guys! But the first year I made nothing. It was abysmal. I was overspending. I was buying stupid crap. I had a crappy phone. It was so outdated. It was like 9 years outdated iPhone. The quality is terrible. I didn't have a bipod or tripod. I didn't care to. I just knew that if I was gonna start this, I wasn't gonna take it too seriously. And this is something that I would give you guys for advice. If you could take anything out of this video, take YouTube seriously, but when you're starting out, just ease into it. Ease into it. Don't feel like you have to have everything perfect. Now, if you do have an amazing setup, you're tech savvy, you're great at streaming, you're great at different camera angles, you have editing software, you have a great desktop, you're already kind of a tech nerd or tech savvy to begin with, then you'll probably take off way faster than I did. I see a lot of people taking off way faster than I did, but my thing is to compare myself to where I was last month, the couple months ago. And I'm constantly seeing an improvement on the channel. I'm constantly seeing growth, not hyper growth, but it's still there. It's still reminding me that if I put in the time and the effort, it's still going to be there. And if I just continue doing what I enjoy doing, it's still going to be there. So the first year was extremely rough. That was very tough for me, trying to, explain to my family and Diana why I'm doing this, why I would, explaining to my, my parents, because our bar is a family business, as a manager and owner and operator, why am I late so often to getting in, to opening the doors? And we didn't even have customers, but why was I late? That doesn't show, that's not a good show of my investment in that business. And so I was explaining that I was doing a YouTube video and that's why I was late, because I was following other dreams of mine. And I'm very lucky I have the privilege to do that because we run a family operated business that I get to control and operate, because I can kind of bend the rules a little bit. But for other people, they don't just get to be late to work. They have to set time and become really good with time management. And that's something I've gotten good with too, but I still am able to bend the rules a little bit, come into work late, maybe have someone go in a little early for me, which I didn't have that luxury the first year. But, and now my family's a little more understanding. They're like, okay, you're doing your grind. We see you. We see, your channel is growing. That's good. But it's been so hard. It's been such a grind. That first year, no monetization. So in 2023, and so 2022 was abysmal for me on YouTube. 2023 was where I pulled in the first chunk of revenue that I've had. And now it's become around, 600-700 if I have a good month, per month, but it built up to that, right? It hasn't been that all last year. So for the whole year, I did $4,000. That's what I got in total, $4,000 and some change in ad revenue. That's what I got for YouTube for the whole year of 2023. This year has started off with 500, so it's even dipped a little bit from what I've been getting in the previous months. But it doesn't bother me. The whole idea of like, oh, it's a slow month, it's a bad time to be posted, it doesn't bother me. My whole thing is the routine of it and the discipline of it and seeing it grow and do well. But it definitely, at first, when the monetization came in, I thought it was going to be a game changer. I thought it was going to grow exponentially, but it's really interesting. It's really a new 9 to 5. It's like another 9 to 5. It pulls you in. You have such high hopes. You have so much optimism, but you realize that you need more. You need more subscribers. You need to be at 10,000, not 5,000. I'm not even at 5,000 yet, but I still feel like the channel is pretty big in terms of how I've seen it grow over the last 2 years. I think a lot of people would look at a 2-year time period and go, wow, man, only 4,500 subscribers in 2 years. That's rough. You've done 600 plus videos, but you also have to understand that I'm still figuring out how to even be a content creator, how to edit, how to have, when I added in my intro, that was a really big deal for as far as the Pokemon goes, the Pokemon channel. That was a really big deal to have an intro and have a little soundtrack. And then editing my stuff, and cutting things, and then realizing that I didn't want to edit stuff so much. But it has helped with isolating sound and stuff like that, so you guys don't hear the washing machine and the dishwasher and my kid screaming and yelling and running around the house. Like, these are things that I've worked on that I've gradually gotten better at. No video, even with the quantity of videos that I have, which is another thing. I don't think that necessarily it's a bad thing to have quantity. I think that if that's how you operate and you don't necessarily know how to make the absolute most quality video, for me, I don't want to waste time. I don't like to be idle. I don't like to sit around for very long. So for me to be able to just make videos and see how they do and judge based on the videos I've done prior, that is very fulfilling to me. Even if they don't do that great, that's very fulfilling to me. Always seeing what's working, what's not working. Do I ride a fine line of just, I'm going to stay safe and stick with the content that has been working, that's bringing me views, that's creating, ad revenue, or do I branch out a little bit, talk about other things a little bit? There's so many things that people could probably learn from me or gain from me or want to know about me, beyond what my collection's like, what the most expensive cards I have, what my collection entails, how much sealed collection do I have? All that stuff. Does it really matter when it comes down to who I am as a person? No, it doesn't matter. And this is why, like, even with a small channel with, not an extravagant background, I thought for the longest time that this background would define who I was and I've got all these great things, and look at my cool vintage booster box collection. None of that stuff matters. And a lot of you that have been on the channel long enough know that, but there was a time where I really felt like I had to have it all and prove something, and I just don't care anymore. It's not something that I feel like I have to do. Now my main concern is, am I passionate about what I'm doing still? Do I feel a burnout coming? Do I feel like I'm providing some kind of insight? Do I feel like I'm providing some form of advice or even camaraderie, friendship, community? What am I building here? Is it interesting? Is it entertaining? All these things that are in my head. But I want to say that if you are starting out, you might go viral. You might have a really good trajectory early on, but it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't, because I didn't. I struggled. My stuff sucked. My stuff did very well for very poorly for a my stuff did very poorly for a very long time. And I owe it to a lot of you guys that have subscribed, that have supported me in some way. Some of you have donated to me. Some of you have, offered criticisms, but in a very kind way, in a way that's still respectful to me. And I've been lucky enough that people haven't tried to beat me down into oblivion over the internet. That's something that I don't tolerate very well, and that personally affects me, that I have to learn to not lose sleep at night over what others think. This is one of the most, again, another really, really important thing. Before I close this up, I really wanted this to be a shorter video, but I'm incapable of not ranting. Ranting is my forte. It's what I do. It's what makes me me. It's what makes me feel like, I matter and I'm appreciated, is that I have a lot that I can offer and tell people, and I could tell a story. And from the beginning of time, one of the most important skills to have in this life is telling some kind of story. People love a good story. And that's, again, something that I want to do more on this channel, is tell stories, things that I experience, things that I see in the bar, people that I, cross paths with, things that are told to me that I think about. From relationship stuff, relationship advice, not that I should be giving any relationship advice, to family things and tips, to finance, to even if I'm not really qualified for this stuff, who cares? If I'm able to, help somebody out, with their goals, or steer someone in a better direction than they're in, even if I'm no expert, who cares? We all start somewhere. Yeah, I'm very thankful for you guys supporting me up to this point. And, I feel like there's so much that, we still have yet to do on this channel. And I'm really excited about doing that stuff. It's difficult for me because I'm always struggling with, in terms of Pokemon stuff, I'm struggling with what am I bringing to the table for them versus, opening stuff and having these discussions versus, and spending money on ripping packs versus okay, the discussions, that doesn't cost me anything other than, time and my thought process, and giving some advice, and then what am I getting out of, collecting these higher end cards? Is it really worth it for me to go after these cards? Am I still trying to prove something? Is this for me, for my collection? Will it ultimately bring me happiness? And I've come to the conclusion that I love collecting Pokemon cards. This is something that I will not be able to escape from, and I will not be able to just stop thinking about. I constantly want to get better at it, learn more from it. Because I have a background in business finance from school, that trickles into Pokemon. I can't help that it trickles into Pokemon, and that I want to, be more analytical with how, the Pokemon markets work and how trading cards work. And I want to show my family that this is lucrative, that this is, this is a very serious hobby, and there are, the whales have yet to come into this hobby. The big money players are still yet, I think, to really come into this hobby. And that might not be the best thing in the world, but in the grand scheme, I think that this is more than just childhood and nostalgia. This is a chance to really make some investments and look back and say, I really enjoyed that. That was fun and it was smart. And so I definitely want to continue with doing Pokemon-based content, but my journey on YouTube has changed a lot about how I think about life and how I spend my time. And I just wish I would have done it much sooner. I wish, You know, I was really into cars for a long time, and there's so much content that I could have and would have made if I had a YouTube at that time. You know, for all I know, this could be a sneaker, sports cars, trading card, YouTube channel. It could be like some of these niches like intermingle together and they work really well together, and I still believe that. Oof. But anyways, guys, if you're thinking of starting a YouTube, go for it. Go for it. Do one video a month. You know, I think you'll find that it has a lot more to offer than a takeaway. I think some of the cons are, you know, judgment, feeling embarrassed about content, doing things wrong, the learning curve of, you know, uploads and upload times, and the mythology of like, well, if you post on this time at this day, like, you're gonna do better. I don't think any of that stuff matters. I don't know if it's because I've always posted around the same time, but I just don't think any of that stuff matters, because YouTube is global. People are watching all over the world. So whenever you post, people could be watching at that time. You know, I appreciate you guys, and I just wanted to share how I felt about YouTube, and that it has given me a new sense of purpose and direction, and I can't wait to see what I do with the channel moving forward. There's so much that I want to do, not enough time, not enough funds, but I'm really excited about that, and I hope that this video, amongst many others, will be kind of tossed into my, you know, normal routine of making the content that I do, and switch things up occasionally, switch the background up occasionally, have it be just me sitting against a blank wall, essentially, sitting in my sunroom, talking to you guys in my sunroom with a more open space. You know, there's constantly a clash of creativity and following your heart and just doing what gets the views. And I don't want my channel to fall into what gets the views. I'm going to do anything, whatever I have to get the views, because I don't believe that if I just continue doing that long enough, eventually it'll trickle into whatever I do. No, I think I have to start now talking about other topics, talking about my life, getting a little bit more personal, because what do I have to lose? I mean, really, I've already put myself out there. I've already been on YouTube now for 2 years. I might as well let people in a little bit on my personal life, on what kind of stuff is going on, my ambitions, how the bar is doing, show you guys around the bar, show you what it's like day to day. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but sometimes you don't have to be the most interesting person in the world. And that's something that I've struggled with, is like, what makes me inherently unique? What makes me interesting? It's not that I have expensive Pokemon cards. It's not that I run a bar. It's not that I am probably one of the only Pokemon YouTubers, at least that I've seen, that wears jewelry. I mean, and that's, you know, something that I feel like is controversial, that I didn't want to do, but it's who I am. I like wearing jewelry. I like to be a little bit flashy. It's who I am as a person, and I want to let that into the channel, but I think I'm afraid of what, you know, people will have to say and think about me. And I think every person out there, not even just YouTubers, just people in general, are afraid to let other people in for fear of being hurt. That is a universal strategy for defense and protecting yourself against others. It's just don't let people in. Be private. And I've never really been that private of a person, so I don't know why I'm doing that with my channel. That's not me. I need to be myself. As cringe as this moment will be on my channel, I need to be myself more. I need to rock the chains, be who I am, and be proud of that. Be proud of the hard work that I've put in, you know, into everything. Anyways, guys, this isn't a midlife crisis. This isn't, I need to change everything. I've been doing everything wrong. This is just a realization that people want the most genuine side of you. And if you can give that to them, that is what makes you unique. That's what makes you special. And yeah, I appreciate those of you that have found interest in my content, my videos, and maybe even me as a person. Some of you have been talking to me about random stuff that has nothing to do with Pokemon. And I love that. I love people actually interested in me and my life as a whole, less than just what do I have to contribute to this hobby and this community. So I love you guys. If you are considering making YouTube videos, go for it. Go for it. Reach for the stars, because you know what? You're only going to live once, and then you're going to be 6 feet under, and and before that happens, you will be thinking about things that you regret. And if you go through life with regrets, that's not a good way to be. Being part of happiness, I think, is living life without regrets and doing things that you feel like you owe yourself to do. Anyways, that's my epic long video rant, getting personal with you guys, explaining, my YouTube journey. I don't even know if I explained my YouTube journey well, but doesn't matter. We'll see how this video is accepted, appreciated, absorbed, consumed, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.